MBR, nothing but rants, show where I find topics that I'm rather passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I am hot about.
Rants.
Hot takes.
3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Never rant. Never rants. Never rants. You know Brooks finna cook, let him rant. Try to do it like us, but you can't. Stay the young, going dumb with the chance. Big plays lead to even bigger bands. What's up? What's the word? What's the play? What we talking about? On the scene with the team, yeah, we popping out. MBR, let's get it, let's go. Film guy, get them ready for the show. What it is, what it ain't, what's happening? We gon' hit you with the stats and the facts, man. MBR, let's get it, let's go. Film guy, get them ready for the show. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Never rant. Never rant. Never rants. Hey, shout it end zone dancing. We about to start it up, it's the anthem. That right, big rings got me handsome. Hold them up like we came for the ransom. I'm in the field, 2-minute drill. Highlight reel, let's review, what's the deal, okay? Watching footage going out of control. Buckle up, we got an hour to go, so let's go, that's straight heat. Ain't no chillin' around here, back to back, Nat chance, how we feelin' around here? Got my whole squad in the building around here. If my name ain't on it, then I really don't care, come on. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Never rant. Never rant. Film guy, rant. Hey. Yeah.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome here to Live in Atlanta. We're in the Westin in Atlanta. Fun fact, my grandfather, Tom Beach, was the project manager of this fine establishment when it was, erected back in like 1992, whenever it was built. So shout out there. I'm sure he's not watching, but I'm sure he'll get the heads up about the shout out. But we are here live in Atlanta, okay, as we had the first day of media availability over there at the World Congress Center, getting ready for Notre Dame and Ohio State to play Monday night in the national title. Obviously, I got a lot of notes and things for you guys today. A little impromptu live stream for you guys. Hope you make sure you hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. I do know for my Georgia constituents, okay, I do know there is a Georgia hoops game going on right now while I'm live streaming, but this ain't for Georgia folks. This is for the folks that are in the national title. All right, this is for Ohio State and for Notre Dame heading up or facing off Monday night. I've got some takes for you from SEC Media Day, or not SEC Media Day. Good Lord, look at the homer. Look at the homer coming through from National Championship Media Day here for you. First and foremost, the take is on retention. All right, that's what the take is on for me. A lot of people, myself included, have talked about this Ohio State roster and have talked ad nauseum, okay, about the amount of money that they have spent on this roster. I think they took 13 transfers this year, but only 6 of them really are impacting the actual, game-to-game performance of this football team. Really a hand-picked few that are playing pivotal roles, right? The quarterback, Will Howard, obviously Quinshon Judkins being a very predominant role for them, especially in the red zone as a in between the tackles ball carrier, and obviously Caleb Downs on the defensive side of the football. But this Ohio State team is not here without spending a bunch of money on retaining draft-eligible juniors from a year ago. I know Jack Sawyer wasn't a first-round draft pick last year. I understand that, okay? But he was a third-round draft pick. He was a late second-round draft pick. He was a guy that was going to get $900,000 to $1 million in a signing bonus plus an NFL rookie contract, okay? So you have to convince players like that to come back and make meaningful snaps on a national title contending roster the next year. Okay, you look at JT Tuimoloau the same way, right? You look at Travion Henderson, the running back, the same way. You look at number 74, their left guard, who's now starting at left tackle for them. Same exact thing. We talked about this a little bit the other night. The talk and national attention has gone on to the money spent on this roster, but like anything else, it's not just that they spent the money, it's how they spent the money, right? You can go out in the NFL and have the world's biggest salary cap. If you're not spending it correctly, you're going to be a bad football team, or at least not a good enough football team. This is one of those teams that not only retain people, but retain the right people and leaders on this football team. And that's one thing. So it's to retain the players is one thing, right? Penn State's going this route right now. They just brought everybody back for next year. They brought the quarterback back, both running backs, everybody basically but Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter, the bona fide top 15 picks, have decided we're coming back to Penn State. They didn't do that for free, all right? But it's important that those players not only come back, but they get better. This is something I talked to Jack Sawyer about today. It's one thing to come back to Ohio State and to say that you want to play for a national title. Everybody does. But what happens if you don't get better? What if you're just the same exact football team from a year ago, right? Now, they basically were in the regular season. They lost to Michigan after basically beating everybody else in the conference. Granted, due to a 12-team expanded playoff, they're able to get in this year and go on this run that they're on. But I don't think they go on this run without the development, okay, from those juniors that they retained as seniors this year. Got a chance to go over to practice availability for Ohio State. We're going to do the same thing here in a little bit for Notre Dame. That's why this stream's kind of in between both of these practice availabilities for me today. So we're kind of a scattered schedule, if you will, scattered brain as well today due to the scattered schedule. But nonetheless, got to go to Ohio State practice availability. We'll talk about Notre Dame a little bit tomorrow and what we saw at practice. But here's what I got for you. JT Tuimoloau, obviously the defensive end for Ohio State, left a little bit in that last matchup for those guys with a banged-up ankle against Texas, ultimately to return in that Texas matchup. He was out and available today during practice, and all signs and indications point to him being 100% healthy. That is the term that we've gotten, or we continue to get their media availabilities and all that good stuff. So if you're expecting JT Tuimoloau to be hampered, maybe, but he's definitely going to play. Here's what I can tell you based off what I saw in practice availability today. That is a lower body injury. We all know this. I don't expect you to look fresh when you come off the bus and you start practice, okay? I expect JT Tuimoloau's best reps today and best movements today to be about an hour into that practice that they had out there at Mercedes-Benz. We got the first 15 minutes. And I'm going to tell you what, first 15 minutes, he looked kind of stiff and sore, as you would expect from a person who, like I said, I believe it looked to me in that Texas game to be a high ankle. But here's the great news. If you're an Ohio State fan, listen to this for some reason. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. But the good news for Ohio State, no brace, no heavy tape, no heavy constriction on that ankle, which tells me they're at least comfortable going out and practice and allowing him to run around on that lower body injury, whatever it actually indeed was. I don't know if I'm not doing my job here or if they've kept that under the wraps very, very well over there and they're doing their job. I don't know. Maybe the chat can help me out here on the latest on that JT Tuimoloau injury. I know his availability. I don't know what specifically the injury was. Okay, so I expect him to be ready to go. Chat saying he'll be heavy game tape. I'm sure they'll tape that sucker up big time during the game. But I like to see going out to practice knowing that a guy's got a lower body injury, seeing nothing. All right, that tells me he's at least pain-free enough to go out there and run around without a heavy tape job up on the ankle. Okay, and this is a nerdy note, but this is a me thing. Okay, that Ohio State team is obviously connected. All right, those guys, offensive players, defensive players, they care about one another. You can see it in the pre-practice routine. They have a very strict routine. They go through it every day. You can see it. They play the what seems to be the school's alma mater during this stretch and warm-up period. And the amount of offensive linemen going over to defensive backs and having their own handshake and defensive ends going over to wide receivers and having their own handshake and clearly having a relationship. Okay, this is something that might sound nerdy and it might sound goofy. And coming from the film guy that breaks down the actual tape, this sounds stupid as shit because you're not supposed to be looking at all these intangible stuffs, but are you not supposed to care all that much about them? But connectivity at this point in the year is vital, right? It's how you get out of these tough games and you survive and you come out on the other side a little bit stronger. It's very clear to me that there is not a single player on that Ohio State team that doesn't truly know his counterpart, right? An offensive lineman, so like I said, an offensive lineman that doesn't know the corners why or who he is or what he is. And this is something that we and I say we, as a Georgia beat reporter originally, right, and still am working hard covering the University of Georgia, as I said, playing hoops right now. But as I get to do more and more of these national events and national opportunities, there is a connectivity that goes across the board with all of these national title contending football teams. The one who ultimately win them, they're uber connected. And I felt the same way about that Michigan football team last year. And this is something we talked about with Kirk Herbstreit today, actually. So, Kirk, if you're watching, I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate the kind words for the work. We are grinding. We will continue to do so. But something we talked about with Kirk today at media availability is like, hey, what has really changed for this Ohio State football team, right? Obviously, they're playing a lot better. The starts have been tremendous. Chip and Will Howard have come out of the gate really, really hot in these games. And getting off those hot starts makes it a whole hell of a lot easier. You get that momentum rolling. But this football team from Ohio State has gone through the absolute ringer of ringers when it comes to disappointments, man. They've lost the biggest games. All of these seniors have lost big games. They've had heartbreak on top of heartbreak. And that type of stuff, I mean, when you finally have the last one, right, the last one you could afford was that Michigan loss. And then, hey, they kept talking about getting into the tournament. Just get into the tournament. That's all we got to do. And then we got to get hot once we get there. They gave them life in terms of giving them the opportunity to get here. And Ohio State has certainly taken advantage of it. Now, I talked to Al Golden today, defense coordinator for Notre Dame, and he didn't explicitly say, we're going to walk out there and play man-to-man. He did not say that. But what he did say is, we're going to ride the horse that brought us here. And what's the horse that brought them there? 85% man coverage, 90% man coverage. He talked about putting bodies on bodies. He talked about playing man coverage. And I know I got quote tweeted, people running into my stuff, not knowing really who I am or what I do or what it is, the background is, or they think they see some tweet from some guy who's at media availability and they think, oh, some journalist out here talking off the hip. No, read between the lines. That coach is not going to come out here and say what his game plan is, but he said what he said. And what he said was, it's hard to change your entire identity for one football game. We are going to be who we are. Now, what is Notre Dame? Notre Dame is an 85% man-to-man football team. However, Notre Dame opened that game against Penn State in zone coverage, disguising it really, really well as well. So, I expect them to be Al Golden defense. I don't expect them to come out playing cover 6, cover 3, cover 4, cover 9, all in 5 consecutive snaps like Ohio State's going to do. I don't expect that from this Notre Dame football team. I do expect that from Ohio State. I expect Ohio State to throw 1,000 different zone coverages at Notre Dame tomorrow and then pressure with some man-to-man. But Notre Dame is who they are defensively, and I expect them to be exactly that Monday night. Let's go on. Let's see here. Ryan Day's growth as a human. All right. Now, again, getting real sentimental on you guys. All right. But I asked Emeka Egbuka about his head coach and just how he's seen him grow over the 4 years that they've been, together. And Emeka talked about Ryan Day as almost, and I don't want to say this is like, people think players, coaches it's a negative term. They think players can run the building and all that good stuff. Emeka Egbuka talked about Ryan Day as if he were almost a peer, as if he even said it's like watching a teammate grow over these years. Emeka's been there 4 years, and he said he's a completely different football coach from the first year that Emeka was there to who he is now. He says it's no different than watching your teammate grow over the years. He said he's watched his head coach grow as well. And that's something you listen to Jack Sawyer talk, you listen to JT Tuimoloau talk, you listen to the veterans on this football team talk about their head coach, and they talk about the trials and tribulations that they've watched him go through, right? And it's very clear to me that it doesn't seem to me that Ryan Day is avoiding telling his team what he goes through and connecting with his team by sharing where he's at, right? And you can see it or you can at least hear it by the way that his football players talk about the growth that he's experienced over the year. I loved Ryan Day's point about the truth tellers in your life being really, really important. Okay, the people in your life that no matter what can tell you the God's honest truth and not worry about hurting your feelings and not worry about stepping on toes or not worrying about it making you feel some type of way. He said his number one truth teller is his wife. I find high relation as well. If there's anyone that checks my ego better than anybody else, it's my wife. especially. So yeah, having truth tellers in your life, really, really important. Now, here's how I also know that not only am I expecting Notre Dame to play man-to-man coverage, but Ohio State is expecting them to play man-to-man coverage. All right. And it's Chip Kelly's response when he starts talking about, hey, we don't have any one set game plan. We go in every single week preparing for the opponent at hand. So I asked him, Coach, the opponent at hand is Notre Dame this week. What do you know you have to be good at to beat this Notre Dame football team? And let me read you some words and phrases that he used. Ball placement, tough catches, confident throws. All three of those tell me he's expecting man-to-man coverage. Again, ball placement. Why would you have to have great ball placement? Well, Coach, he's going to be right in your hip. All right, he's going to be right in your hip. He's going to be tight. It's going to be tight coverage. So we got to have great ball placement, right, to defy great coverage. Talked about tough catches. Tight coverage, right? We're not talking about tight window throws. We're not talking about throwing on time. We're not talking about – he talked about giving yourself enough time to get the throws off. Right? Because we've got to be able to create separation. And in order to create separation, we've got to have time to do so. So he talks about protection, talks about tough catches, talks about ball placement. Those are all signs that the offensive coordinator from Ohio State is expecting man-to-man coverage. He should be, by the way. And if I would never, ever, ever go into a football game like this preparing for something that yes, and they might do. No, we prepare for what they do. And we prepare for something that we might expect. But the might expect preparation is like 15 to 20% of the actual practice time. All right, and then maybe you spend an analyst's, entire last 10 days, and you say, hey, go find out who Al Golden's been the last 10 years. And if he ever played zone coverage, let's go study that. I would imagine they're doing that with the analysts. But in terms of preparing your football players, you prepare those guys, all right, for man-to-man coverage this week. So how do we beat man-to-man coverage? We got to get a lot of stacked releases. We got to get a lot of pre-snap motion. We got to get a lot of protection, like he said, and of course, ball placement. And most importantly, something that Ohio State has in plethora. Got to have dudes. Got to have dudes that can go out there and win in one-on-one situations, and they certainly have it. I think this football game, to me, guys, all of the talking points. I've been sitting here in the media available, but I don't know if y'all can hear the ambient noise in the back, other people doing shows and cutting clips and whatnot. But the general main talking point around this football game has been about what can Notre Dame's defense do to limit Ohio State's offense. And the reason being, I don't think there's an analyst in the world that's expecting Notre Dame to come out here and put up 35 points. I don't think that's what we're expecting. I think everyone expects the path for victory for Notre Dame to be a version of what Texas played against Ohio State last week, with them coming out on top at the end of it because they out-executed in the bottom half of the fourth quarter. That's how they beat Penn State. Really, that's how they beat Georgia. I know they had a massive swing of momentum midway through the halftime and coming out of the halftime, but what was hey, we're going to condense these things. We're going to make this game a little bit tighter, and we're going to make this game all about, can you execute on offense, 12 plays to score. We're going to make you walk it down the field. We're going to limit explosives. We're going to get after the quarterback. And on offense, all right, for Notre Dame, we're going to manage everything that we do. They manage at the quarterback position. They manage at the play calling position. They are not super aggressive. They are not a hunting offense. They are much more of a methodical offense, all right? They go hide in the bushes and then strike you when they can. That's how they play offense. They're not one of these teams that's just full-fledged, oh, it's 2nd and 2. We had a positive play on first down. Ooh, automatic shots. That's not how Notre Dame plays. They will continue to matriculate the football. And that's what I talked about a couple of days ago. Notre Dame's game plan is to drag Ohio State in deep water and test lung capacity. That's what they want to do. They want to make this a one-score, 17-14 fourth quarter football game where somebody's up to lose it. All right. I don't feel like Notre Dame's done a good enough job winning football games, but I feel like every fan base on this network has left a loss to Notre Dame saying, we beat ourselves. We beat ourselves. We're better than them. We have more talent than them. No, they got you into a fourth quarter game, stared you right in the eye and said, hey, are you going to execute? Because I know we are. We've been executing for the last 7-8 weeks of college football since Northern Illinois embarrassed us at home. Are you guys going to execute? All right, that's what they've been asking these football teams to do. Here's the scary thing for Notre Dame. Ohio State's out executed you on film for 3 weeks now, and they have better football players. Like this isn't an Ohio State team that's just rolling the ball out right now, guys. This Ohio State football team is playing locked in football. Really, really good football on both sides of the ball. I think it's defense, manufacture scores for Notre Dame. All right. Win this one 17-14, and you got a chance. If the first team to 30 is guaranteed to win this ball game if it's Ohio State. All right. That's my opinion. All right. Random takes for you as we are 21 minutes into this impromptu live stream. Random takes for you. These are practice and in-person dude takes. So this is your boy checking out a dude and going, you know what? I got a different opinion about you, dude. Dude number one that I have a different opinion on. Jack Sawyer. Now, this is going to sound like, duh, dummy. Look at the roster. Jack Sawyer way bigger than you would ever imagine, at least now. I saw him last year or 2 years ago, Sugar Bowl 2 years ago. Saw him a couple years ago. Wasn't as broad as he is now. This dude is wide as shit. His arms are like pure width and mass, all right? At like 245, 250 pounds. He's a guy. I've been doing the equate Aiden Hutchinson thing. I think Jack Sawyer is going to be like 12-year pro, 12-year pro, like a really, really big dude. All right, and I've seen a lot of big dudes. That's a big dude. Speaking of big dudes, Will Howard and Riley Leonard, and I know on paper you see it, but walking up on a 6'4" plus quarterback feels a little bit different when you do it. All right, 6'4", big humans. Riley Leonard, thin, rail thin. Will Howard looks like a tight end. Looks like a tight end. He is a big man. Another big man that I didn't realize. Oh wow, unfamiliar with your game, Jeremiah Love. I envisioned Jeremiah Love out of high school being this 185-pound kid that maybe he fills out, but maybe we have to gadget him the whole time. Maybe we can only give him 5 carries a game. Hopefully he breaks at 90. I thought that was that human. That dude is huge. That dude's arms and his shoulders and his neck, a very large man. Something that the roster doesn't really. I'm like maybe RB2 sneaking up into RB1 if he ultimately declares this year. That guy is impressive. Okay, he is a really, really impressive football player. As is Christian Gray. Got an opportunity to talk to him today as well. Very welcoming of the challenge of playing man-to-man against Jeremiah Smith this week. Said these are the ones that he dreams for. Now, I don't know if that's the quote that I'm giving Jeremiah Smith. I don't know if I'm giving out a freshman the quote of, I've been dreaming about that matchup for a long time. I don't know if I do that one. But anyways, I do think they're going to bracket those guys. I think they're going to do everything they can to take Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka out of this football game. I also do think they have a good opportunity, does Notre Dame's defense, to create stagnation, the running game from Ohio State. Something that, again, Kirk and I talked about during media availability today. Something that, he noticed and we talked about on film this week, right? The idea that Ohio State's not a great run-at-you football team. They don't line up an inside zone and run it down your throat. This is a run around you, run on you on angles. This is we want to block counter, we want to block power, we want to add hats to the front side of the equation. This is not a football team that's going to run at you. So if Notre Dame, as they have been the last 6-7 weeks, if Notre Dame can be like gap sound and run fit, I don't think they have to play at 6, 7, 8 guys in the box, or 7, 8, 9 guys in the box. I think they can play at 2 high shells and play 2-man under the rest of the football game if they really wanted to. And it's really not going to be 2-man under. It's going to be man-to-man on the 3 guys that aren't Emeka and Jeremiah. It's going to be bracket coverage on those 2 guys. So, yeah, I think that might be what you have going on this week. I'm contemplating a little walk around with you guys because they treat the media. They treat the media nice around here, boys and girls. I'm talking about it is a national title. We got Brody's drinking brew dogs at 3:00 in the afternoon. I ain't gonna tell you, boss. All right, I ain't gonna tell you, boss. But you are wearing company logos, walking around with a brew dog at 3:00 in the afternoon when we supposed to be working. That's all I'm saying. I ain't gonna rattle nobody, but that's all I'm saying. I think I'm good here. I think I'm good right here. Yeah, you do want to walk around? All right. So here's what we got. This is a nice walk around the hotel. I'll give you one little peek. Look at those TVs. It's huge. All right. I've had fun with you guys today. I hope you did as well. Yeah, your boy was suited and booted. How about this pin they gave you, kid? Man. Appreciate you guys for being here, man. For real. Appreciate you for being here all season. If you've been new to us this network or this year, glad to have you here, man. Honestly, the newer transition and the additional, it's not even a transition, it's additional work. The new additional work on the national front is the reason I believe that we are here today. Okay. I am still a local Georgia beat reporter. But the validity of this network and the validity of what we do nationally now on YouTube, I think certainly played a role in the ability for me to be here. So I do greatly appreciate you guys. And no, I'm not big league in the University of Georgia. I love my job. I love college football. And I love the idea that this is what I do for a living with some of my best friends. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. I love you.